Jefferson Pilot Sports.
The basket, a single metal ring, 18 inches in its inside diameter. That metal ring is not supposed to have feelings, but don't tell that to the players. And certainly no ghosts in this old building that would affect the outcome of a game. It's NC State against the Duke Blue Devils live from Cameron Indoor Stadium on the Duke University campus. A very pleasant good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Rathman. My partner is Bucky Waters, and welcome to a big day of ACC basketball. When Duke and State met in Game 1 in Raleigh, it was a classic, and both come to Durham today, Bucky, with NCAA tournament thoughts uppermost in their minds. Albeit they're pushed against the wall. This is a crucial game. They all are for these two ball clubs, but they could still make it with a run.
Well, the proverbial on the bubble teams are everywhere, and these are two of them. Still with chance to do just that. Looking at the home games for Duke and NC State, it's doable. It's very doable. I happen to think Georgia Tech is in, but as with everybody, there are opinions. Maryland with 4 home games has been up and down, and with a player now sidelined, it's wide open. It's possible that we could have 6 teams in the league. We have to in the NCAA. We have to remember that the SRI, the index, Duke, and I'm sorry, ACC is #1. All 6 teams are 66 within it, so it is doable. It's not a dream, but these next 2 weeks and the ACC tournament will decide.
Now, in Game 1, we mentioned, you saw a moment ago, Chris Collins' shot went in, Curtis Marshall's did not. But since that game, Bucky, it seems like Duke and State have taken opposite directions.
Well, it was really interesting. It was January the 18th. Duke was on a 4-game losing streak, had not won an ACC game, and NC State on a 3-game winning streak, and really feeling their oats. And as we know, the shot that was heard around the world that went in, and the one that was heard in the neighborhood that didn't. And from there, they went in different directions. NC State then went to Maryland, played pretty well, lost in overtime up there, and it was, from there on, it's been a tailspin, almost a free fall.
All right. We'll see how it turns out today. It's Duke against North Carolina State from Cameron, and we'll be back with the starting lineups after this message from Budweiser. At Cameron Indoor Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. NC State starting lineup tonight. The pack at 14-10 overall and 3-8 in the ACC. They'll line up this way. Danny Strong, a key man for the Wolfpack, Buck. He's been in double figures in 4 straight games.
Well, he's still streaky with that 3-point shot. The key for him today is defense. He's going to have to play Newton, Domzowski, and that's a big load for him. He is not that good a defender, and he's given away pounds and inches.
The Duke University Blue Devils are also 14-10 overall, 5-7 in the ACC. Capel and Collins each had 20 in the game at Raleigh, and Ricky Price is coming off that 28-point performance against Virginia on Wednesday.
Mike Krzyzewski's had a problem getting points all year long. If Price can sustain, and he is hot, 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 then this team can open up the middle, and the inside players can become better.
The opening tip-off, Les Robinson of the pack, set to go to work against the Blue Devils. Next. You see his coaching record against the Devils. As a player, he was 0-6. Mike Krzyzewski against the Wolfpack, 33 wins and 24 defeats, and a miracle win over in Raleigh back in January. Greg Newton and Todd Fuller, the jump center, as we're ready for basketball from Cameron. Stan Rode, Larry Rose, and Chuck Pitts to officiate. Mr. Rose, the pride of Franklin, Virginia, to toss it up between the two big men. Duke was down 17 against Virginia, came back to win by 10. The Blue Devils have won 4 straight ACC games in this building. Domzowski against Strong, and Fuller rebound. Duke went right after Danny Strong.
That's the matchup we talked about. Strong's got to have a long afternoon. They're going to go right down his throat.
Fuller needs some help. He'll have to shoot it. And Newton rebounds.
Good perimeter D that time by Duke. Fuller not having an outlet. There's great respect for State's three-point shooting.
Newton backs in on Fuller. And that's a travel. Boy, some good post defense that time by Todd Fuller.
Notice NC State did not double down and try to help. They just left them play one-on-one. Excellent job by the big guy.
Mano a mano.
Hey, that's good. I didn't realize you were a Spanish major.
Oh, I thought that was French. Here's a drive by Mr. Harrison all the way to the bucket. Well, you don't see many of those against Duke. He took it right from the wing to the goal.
Boy, normally the guy from the weak side has the assignment to hairlift you, and there was nobody home for the Blue Devils.
Newton again, and again one-on-one against Fuller. And this time it's Danny Strong reaching in and picking up the foul, his first.
Hyatt also having a tough assignment, trying to take the fire out of Ricky Price. That'll be a good matchup to watch. And remember, Duke has gone a little zone, which is quite rare.
And it's a matchup zone.
Yeah, that's true. Which is really what we call a sloughing man for man. It's very little zone. It's more matchup.
Greg Newton is playing in his 6th career game against the Wolfpack this afternoon. In the previous 5, Newton has scored a grand total of 8 points.
He just wasn't a good player off the bench. He just tried to come in and get too much done too soon. But with playing time and knowing he's going to be out there, he has really settled down and become confident. He's always had the talent.
Strong. The tip blocked by Dobzowski. What a terrific block by the freshman. Here's Collins. Hey, that's a travel. Well, it looked like Clint Harrison had a nice follow shot.
Strong taking Newton outside. Harrison right up there on the rim among all those white jerseys. Had a real good look in the tip.
Jeremy Hyatt for 3. And the Wolfpack with a 5-1 lead. Hyatt's 29th three-pointer this season. He's hitting just about 36% of his threes.
Doing a terrific job on Price early without any help.
Down the lane to Fuller. Great pass from Marshall.
In addition to shooting 35% from the three-point lane, Fuller demonstrating he can run the floor.
Collins. Shot clock at 15. Newton coming across the lane, but Fuller clogging things up. Back out to Cable. Long 3. And the long rebound to Harrison. State trying to run. Hyatt the trailer. And Newton clears.
State taking a very quick shot. With Duke's step situation, it seems to me State would be well served to work that defense a little bit. That 3 is always going to be there.
Fuller is number 1. 7-1 NC State, and a change for Les Robinson as Joshua Benjamin checks into the State lineup. And Clint Harrison, the Reidsville sophomore, goes out. He goes to the bench with 3 rebounds and 2 points.
Benjamin had a terrific game in here last year when NC State just came in and took the Blue Devils apart, 77-60. Benjamin with 23 points, and for a guy that's been struggling, and he struggled again in their last game in Tallahassee. Maybe the confines here and the success will give him confidence to play well today. Les Robinson certainly hopes so.
Ricky Price talking about having great games in this building. Sure had one Wednesday with that 28-point effort against the Cavaliers. 3 threes and hit 9 of 10 at the line. 7-3 Wolfpack. Danny Strong for 3. No red shirts under the basket. Domzalski with the easy clean.
Not putting a lot of pressure on the Duke defense so far. Remember, there are only 6 players down there.
Newton. Benjamin. And that ball was kicked. So a reset of the shot clock.
Mike Krzyzewski starting on Larry Rose's here just early. Just wanting an explanation. Little bargaining for the next call.
Fuller gets the offensive rebound over Collins and powers it in. And we've got a technical foul on Mike Krzyzewski. Well, Larry Rose had an earful a moment ago, as you pointed out, Buck, and Mike had more to say as the ball was going the other way, and Larry pops him with a technical. Mike also had a tee on Wednesday.
He says he'll take one every game if that's what it takes. A seething Mike Krzyzewski, wondering why Collins got drilled to the floor and enabled Fuller to go to the line, not only to get the basket, now to get 2 points at the foul line and the ball.
Todd Fuller with 6 points and a couple of boards here in the early going, and NC State has jumped off to an 11-5 lead. We'll be back after this from Budweiser. SEC basketball features a Big Four confrontation at Duke on the Raycom Jefferson Pilot Sports Network. The Wolfpack off to an early 11-5 lead. Mike Krzyzewski now, Buck, has received a technical foul in 3 consecutive games.
Well, he's the league leader in the ACC of the active coaches, and normally he uses them with intelligence and not with a lot of what you call venom. I mean, they're pieces to be used in the chess game.
Benjamin's turnover gives it to Duke. Wojo in the game now for the Blue Devils, along with Stan Brunson. Inside, Domzalski controls it. Missed the shot. Gets it back. Powers up. Leaves it short. Strong tries to save it. And Wojo has it, but he was standing on the sideline. There's great action underneath.
Oh, Strong. Danny Strong was just could have really been embarrassed. First he was asleep. The ball went right underneath. Should have been a layup. Then Domzalski comes back. Fuller close to committing a foul. Watch this save now. This kind of throws it back in the red zone there. Unfortunately for State, there was a crowd and it couldn't be converted to a hoop. Not a wise move.
Off the hands of Benjamin.
Stan Brunson now guarding Fuller at the other end.
Wojciechowski outside to Collins. 11-5 Wolfpack.
Hyatt switches from Price to Capel. Clearly he's the toughest perimeter defender that Les Robinson has.
Capel did a terrific job moving without the ball that time.
When Hyatt gets in your face defensively, you've got to work for your shots.
This is NC State's 11th possession. Fuller has touched it once today. Pinkins around to Hyatt, going baseline, but shut off with the double team. Now Benjamin through traffic, and he has it taken away. Last touched by Brunson, says Stan Rose. Now Larry Rose has better information. Hyatt was the last to touch, and the ball belongs to State.
I'm not sure intense describes this. Wojo throws it up in the air for grabs. Calabria did that backwards once earlier this year, and it was good for Carolina. He just put it up for grabs. Now Les Robinson is upset, feeling like Mike Krzyzewski calling for a second opinion, and one is beginning now to get the momentum from the officials. Jeff Jones was very clear on that in here the other night with a couple of calls in front of the Duke bench after the technical on Krzyzewski.
Ricky Price comes in for Chris Collins. Price without a field goal here in the opening minutes. 2 free throws to his credit. 11-7 Wolfpack. Inside Pinkins. Here's a young man, Buck, who's really playing well of late. Al Pinkins off the bench, the redshirt senior, had 13 points and 6 boards at Florida State Wednesday.
He's playing longer and longer. He's paying his dues with his therapy, but he's still got some bad wheels there. A lot of heart. Both teams really working on the defensive end.
Newton throws it up and off. And Fuller screaming for a foul, but no whistle.
Newton just took two swipes. Not what you call discreet.
Still the Pack having a hard time getting it to Fuller on the blocks. There it goes, but the pass was a bad one. You know, a lot of that, too, is a Duke defense.
It is pressure on the ball. You know, you can give a team good looks at a shot. You can also give them good looks at beating the post. And right now, the perimeter defense for Duke has been excellent in terms of sealing off those looks, making it a tough pass.
13-7 Wolfpack. Inside Domzalski, fumbles it, then cost him a chance for a bucket. And Fuller wraps him up. It's a hell ball. And the arrow gives it to NC State. Had Domzalski been able to control that immediately, he had a nice drop step move to the bucket in progress.
Fuller playing very aggressively defensively down at that end, and so far has managed to escape fouls.
Fuller can't do anything with it this time. Wolfpack. Marshall just had nowhere to go with it. It looked like from up top here, he had the pick and roll early, but didn't get Fuller the ball back.
Well, Fuller curled out, and with the switch, he had Wojciechowski. He should have taken him to the basket.
Capel and Fuller with another rebound. His 4th of the afternoon.
Strong posting up on Capel inside.
Harrison in the bucket off the glass. CC with 4. 15-7 Wolfpack.
So far, the Wolfpack has matched the defensive intensity of Duke in here, and that was the key to this game. You know that Duke's going to play hard, especially here in Cameron with the enthusiasm, but State has been very assertive defensively.
Boy, every shot, every pass contested at both ends. And that tough defense that you pointed out, Buck, is manifest in the field goal shooting. Here's one by Danny Strong off the window. 10-point lead for NC State.
Les Robinson has a decided advantage in here. The only one he has, in my opinion. He's got some depth. If he can keep turning his people over and sustain that pressure, he's going to have a lot better chance at the end of this game.
Capel, count the bucket, and a blocking foul on NC State and Al Pinkins.
Here's the move down the lane. Capel taking off, really not great control. Close call. Al Pinkins sliding over there with one gimpy knee. Took the shot. A little too late.
Jeff Capel, the 41st Duke player to move over 1,000 points in his career. At the line, outstanding. 80.6%. His dad, of course, the head coach at Old Dominion University in Norfolk. 5 points for Capel, and Duke is within 7. A timeout on the floor at Cameron with 10:40 left in the first half. We'll be back after this message from Carquest Auto Parts. First Basketball is brought to you in part by Carquest Auto Parts stores. A couple of keys, Buck, when you watch Fuller. One, they want to try to keep him away from the goal when they can, and then when time permits, a double team.
Look at this. It takes 2 to tango, but Damon better be careful. He's yanking on Superman's cape there. I would not want to exercise Todd Fuller's desire to smash me, and he will learn that as a freshman.
6 points, 6 rebounds. The early numbers for Fuller, he had 27 points and 14 boards when these teams met at Reynolds Coliseum.
Since that last break, there were 8 possessions by NC State. Fuller had 4 touches, but no shots. He's getting a little frustrated coming out with that screen, and he's basically taking himself off the lane.
Taman's up Domzalski with his first foul.
Duke is very pleased when he drifts toward the three-point line because they really don't have an answer for him, especially with their potential foul problems and lack of depth.
Pickens, and Brunson knocks it out of his hands. 17-10 NC State. 26 seconds on the shot clock. Whereas Duke was coming off that great win and another foul inside, this one on Brunson. NC State trying to pick up the pieces. They lost in Tallahassee on Wednesday 79-66, and they turned it over 25 times. But how many times have we seen during the course of this ACC season there is no such thing as momentum, positively or negatively? Just see that every day is a new day, and there's no telling what's going to happen.
Well, Maryland had a 5-game winning streak off a win at North Carolina, went to Tallahassee last Saturday and got blown away. How do you figure?
Collins, long 3. My goodness. Chris hits 45% of his threes. That was from deep three-point range. And a foul on Wojciechowski as he tried to get around Fuller. Shoulder pads, I think, might be in order before this one's over.
But what's interesting is that the pressure that Duke is applying defensively keeps pulling State further and further out. The high pick now being set out there by Fuller is almost at the midcourt circle. And all of this is accruing well toward what Duke is trying to do. If they can just sustain it with 6 players.
Todd Fuller getting a breather. Hyatt back in for the pack, and he takes it right to Newton. Puts it up for grabs. Benjamin comes up with it. And that's a trap.
Josh Benjamin just can't get going. Has not performed well. He's tentative. And as we pointed out, played a terrific game in here as a freshman last year. 23 points. In fact, he started his career with a 29-point game. Still struggling with that confidence.
Brunson. And Hyatt on his hip, got a great pass.
No pressure on the ball.
The Pack led 17-7. 5 unanswered for the Blue Devils. Wolfpack just throwing it away. Capel. Hyatt picks up his first. There are turnovers of omission and turnovers of commission, and that, well, actually the last 2.
I think you have to give credit. Yeah, you have to give credit to the Duke defense, who's Corliss Robinson there. His cheeks about the color of that red sweater. His team's being dominated at that other end after an initial good job of execution. The question again is, you know, can Duke sustain that kind of energy on the defensive end?
Todd Fuller. State going with a big lineup as Marshall comes out. And Jeff Capel, 1 of 2 at the line today.
Both teams have committed 4 fouls with 8 minutes and 38. It seems more physical than that.
And a lane violation against the Blue Devils. Wipe off the free throw attempt. NC State ball. Josh Benjamin, you pointed out, Buck, had 23 in this building a year ago. Pinkins for 3.
NC State taking the quick 3 when they can, which for a team that's not deep is a luxury defensively.
Newton up top to Collins. Collins all the way to the goal. Saw Fuller, decided to dish. And State's coming the other way. Harrison back to Hyatt. There's another quick 3. Rebound. Pinkins lost it. It's out of bounds to Duke. 7:56 remaining in the first half. The Wolfpack by 5. We'll be back after this message from Budweiser. Bucky Waters mentioned earlier about the Duke depth or lack of it. The injury factor has been a big one here at Duke this season. 50 games missed total because of all the injuries and the academic problems for Tony Moore. Christensen is dressed. He practiced yesterday, but did not play in the Virginia game. Not expected to see action today.
It's really tough to adjust to that once the season starts. I mean, if you know you got certain limitations when you start practice or before the season, it's a lot easier to adjust. This has been a series of Band-Aids, but somehow the Dukes have managed to keep a lot of emotion in what they're doing, and they have survived. Duke is 4 of 16 from the floor as Jeff Capel draws his first foul of the afternoon. NC State would be well served to take that ball to the basket, again with the depth problem, really putting pressure on the Duke defense. And then before they take that three, I think they'd be wise to really work that Duke defense a little bit and just to wear them down. Jeremy Hyatt, a 73% foul shooter and 93% in the ACC. The former All-State quarterback and defensive back in high school down in Jacksonville comes back to hit this one, his 4th point of the ball game. State leads it by 6. Jason Sutton now checking in for the Wolfpack, and it's going to be Harrison to go out. 18-12 Wolfpack. Price has been silent so far, and air balls one out of bounds. Oh. Wide right. He's 0 for 2. Danny Strong goes past Newton, runs into Domzalski, and Taman with a block. Strong gets it back, and Domzalski the rebound. Capel back to Collins. His first field goal to go with 5 rebounds. Despite the fact that Duke is shooting in the mid-20s, within 4. Danny Strong pushes the lead to 7 with his first 3-pointer today. Boy, I saw him just absolutely on fire up at College Park. He went 7 for 11 with from the 3-point line, forced that game into overtime. If he heats up, Duke's got their hands full. Price, Newton, just tough battle inside against Fuller. Oh, very physical game. Strong, in and out. Krzyzewski wants a 20-second timeout. He's got a tired basketball team out there. The pace has been frantic. Nations Bank, a corporate partner of the 1996 Olympics, presents this Olympic salute to excellent question. Who are the 2 active NBA players who have played on an Olympic gold medal team, an NCAA and NBA championship team? We'll have the answer a little later during our broadcast today from Duke. Well, the shooting numbers for the Blue Devils, Bucky. Price 0 for 2, Collins 0 for 2, Newton is 0 for 4, and Price, it looked like on that last possession just a tad gun shy after that air ball. He can't afford to be bashful. He's been hot, and he's got to stay hot if Duke is going to achieve their postseason goal. Capel was 7. How much does a game like Wednesday night that Duke played against Virginia take out of a team that's particularly limited in physical resources? Well, you know, Duke was criticized early for having leads and blowing them, but this is one time they were down 12 at the half, and for the first time after 16 times of not being able to come from behind when trailing at the half, they managed to put forth a great effort. Yeah, I think it did, but they're playing at home and they're well conditioned. I don't think that's as big a factor. I just don't. I think State's really matched their intensity today. Jason Sutton with that last personal. Marshall comes back. Hyatt, Fuller, and Strong up front for the Wolfpack. We watched practice yesterday. There was plenty of bounce in the Duke legs. They really took it easy on Thursday after that tough game with the Cavaliers. Here's Boy, his step is quick. You know, right before that first game, Duke changed his offense, went to a modified flex a little bit to get more penetration. In fact, that was the play that Duke wanted to run at the crucial time to win it. And Collins passed up Price and took the shot. But it's very difficult with that diagonal slap with Capel and Price coming from the wings.
Domzalski with another tip in.
They've forgotten about Todd Fuller in there. He touched that one, but that's the first one in the last 9 possessions.
And Danny Strong picks up his second personal. And with that, Duke moves into the bonus.
Look at this. Nobody can get a fork in it. Well, it definitely had a first down there. Definitely had a first down. Strong saying, well, what do we got to do to get a foul here?
Chris Collins was quoted yesterday saying, we have to play every game like we have no more chances. At 14-10, Duke can ill afford a loss at home to the Wolfpack and entertain NCAA thoughts. Tournament, of course, notwithstanding.
Brunson, great help on Fuller. The old soccer player, he's quick. Don't sell him short in there. At 6'7" with quick feet, that can give a big, strong center like Fuller more trouble than another 6'11" guy.
And Price picks the pocket of Marshall. 2-on-1 with Capel. 20-second timeout for the Wolfpack.
That one will make the 11 o'clock news and the highlight film. When you make those turnovers at the top of the key, Price there, absolutely. You got a billing, a watch, and a ball. But watch, he gets it back. Just rewards from good defense to the slammer. Capel, not being selfish, draws the defense, lays it up there. That's the way you finish a break.
And it pulls Duke within 1. Our Nation's Bank questioned the 2 active NBA players with Olympic gold and NCAA and NBA championships, Michael and Magic. And it wasn't a treat to see them on the court a couple of weeks ago. 21-20 NC State, 4:11 left in the half. Duke was down 10 at 17-7. Kicks it out to Harrison. Hold everything. We've got a foul, I believe, on Hyatt. And it's going to be Duke basketball. That's the 3rd foul on Jeremy Hyatt. He threw an arm, an elbow, after he got rid of the basketball.
Well, it must have been formidable because Domzalski does not go down easily. Well, that is a crucial play for the Pack. Hyatt, their best perimeter defender, and I mean, if they got a chance of stopping a guy like Price or Capel, and it's been Hyatt's assignment this entire first half, and we're 4 minutes from the end of it. So now look for those 2 guys to possibly go off. Benjamin coming in, not a defender, not at Hyatt's level. Look for a Duke spurt.
Duke has taken the lead by 1. We will return after this message from Continental, the official airline of the ACC. Back to take a 1-point lead. Coming up later today at 4, a battle of the top 2 teams in the conference, Wake Forest and Georgia Tech. The first game went down to the wire with the Deacons behind Tony Rutland, winning by 3. And the rematch today at 4 on your Raycom Jefferson Pilot Sports affiliate. The ACC standings heading into this Saturday of play. The Deacs with a 1-game lead over the Yellow Jackets, and North Carolina at 3rd, hosting Virginia at 8-4. A tough stretch for the Deacs. Buck, a Thursday night late game on the road at College Park. Flying right over Winston, going right to Atlanta to get ready for the Jackets.
Coming out of that timeout, I have to believe the word was find our center. The last 11 possession, Fuller only 2 touches. They were in the same position, pretty good. but the Duke defense surrounded him, forced him to kick it back out. No, we thought the benches would be a factor here. State has played 8. Oh.
Well, looked like Benjamin was going to reverse one, and then decided to ditch it to Fuller.
Just about took his head off.
And Brunson can't handle the pass.
Benjamin's lost. He's absolutely lost. He made a foolish play at this end. All he had to do was just give it soft to the big guy down there on the switch. He didn't know who he had.
Boy, a ton of turnovers for the Pack. We mentioned they had 25 at FSU Wednesday.
And it turned into 24 points off of those 25, which did him in Tallahassee.
Duke foul on number 3, Ricky
First foul on Price.
Conversely, Duke only 6 turnovers against Virginia, a critical stat in that game.
Fuller. Oh, how did he hit that one?
Boy, he had to force it, too. He really had to force that one.
NC State back in front, 23-22. Tough shot.
Benjamin on Price. Look for Duke to exploit that one.
And Ricky goes right to work. He'll be at the line.
Jeremy Hyatt's value is he's just undervalued as a player, because at the defensive end he does so many little things, and at 6'6" he can play big and small. Price using the pick well, taking Benjamin to school, gets him up in the air, and the way things have been going for Price, that one normally goes down.
Steve Wojciechowski returns for the Blue Devils. He's basically a 4-guard alignment.
That's the way
Domzalski.
Yep, that's the way Duke has been for a major part of games this season. Yeah, we talked about the bench. NC State has played 8 players, and Duke has played, as we know, 6. Both teams generating only 2 points from their bench. So, again, NC State not being able to max that advantage, but if it truly becomes an advantage, it will probably be in the last 10 minutes.
The 6 men that Coach K uses could truly be called the Iron Dukes. They'll play all 200 minutes.
Benjamin posting up on Wojciechowski underneath, but the pressure on the ball was so good, they couldn't find him.
Fuller, Marshall, Harrison out front. Duke leading by a point. Coming down to the end of the half. A 3-pointer won't go. Benjamin puts it in.
You know, Fuller sets that high post screen, and then he's flaring out, and he's not getting the pass back for the jumper. And then when the ball goes up, he's not on the offensive board. He's got to seriously think about getting down in the paint.
Capel was out of bounds. NC State ball. Good defense that time by Clint Harrison.
You know, Harrison just hasn't played as well as a starter as he has coming off the bench.
Wolfpack.
There goes Fuller again to the 3-point line.
Shot clock at 10.
State really working the Duke defense now.
5 seconds to shoot. 4. Marshall all the way. Short. 3-on-2 the other way. Price explodes.
Nice job by Chris Collins that time. He got out there quick, slowed down, waited till the lanes filled. Just a clinic on the middleman and the break.
Fuller had the idea of getting it to Pickens. Now the Pack coming the other way, and Fuller baseballs it to Benjamin, and he misses the jam. And Rojo has it go off his foot out of bounds.
I don't know where Benjamin is, but he isn't in Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Number 10.
And that's just not one play. He turned the ball over the first time he got it. Just one of those days.
35 seconds left in the half. State trying to recapture the lead. In it goes to Fuller, and the lefty leaves it short. Duke wants the final shot. Stay tuned at halftime when Dick Vitale presents the DirecTV Dish Out the Winners sweepstakes. Now Wojo has it. 10 seconds left in the half. Wojo to Capel for 3. Rebound. Collins took it out of bounds. State ball with 1.6.
They don't seem to have a plan. Get Fuller down in the lane and throw it to him deep. No.
Instead, it's into Sutton, and the ball rolls harmlessly out of bounds as the first half ends. The Blue Devils with Mike Krzyzewski glaring toward the officials, leading by 1 at 26-25. Paul Cameron rejoins us in a moment.
Leading Villanova, it is UMass, #1 in the country, with a tough one against Virginia Tech, 33-28. Bucky Waters has called this an upset today. We shall see. Elsewhere on the scoreboard, Virginia, North Carolina tips at 2 o'clock. Later today on most of these ACC stations, it's Wake and Georgia Tech, battle of first and second place in the conference. Florida State and Clemson at night at 7 o'clock. Time now for our ACC Championship Challenge. Voting ends February 10th. Has ended February 10th for this contest, where you had a chance to pick the ACC's regular season title holder. The winner will be announced during ACC tournament coverage in March and will receive a trip for 2 to the 1996 DirecTV Grade 8 tournament. Here's a look at the current ACC standings. You see, Wake Forest and Georgia Tech, I mentioned, battle for first and second. 9-2, the Demon Deacs after the big win this week at Maryland. North Carolina is still in there at 8-4. Maryland 5-6. We will continue with halftime. We're nearing the second half tip. We'll be back to Durham after this. Back live in Durham, it's Duke leading 26-25. Now at the break, Todd Fuller, ACC's leading scorer, 8.7 rebounds. But as we throw it back up to Bob and Bucky for the second half, fellas, I think Mike Krzyzewski has to feel pretty doggone good. His center position, Domzalski, doing a good job against Todd. He has 7.6 rebounds, and most importantly, he and Newton still have 9 fouls between them to work in the second half, guys.
And I would think, Paul, that they will use that allotment before the afternoon is through. It's a great point. Indeed, in this first half, Fuller didn't touch it that often, and Domzalski had some good contributions, Bucky, particularly at the offensive end.
Well, you know, State has difficulty containing the 2 big guys. We said right on that Strong would have a difficult time in there, and Domzalski was very assertive. 6 points and 7 boards. That's a tremendous performance. He's on his way to career highs. Fuller just, although he had 8 points, he only had 1 offensive rebound. You see it. And that, with the fact that State only shot 37%, means he's got to stay in that lane and get on the offensive board. Duke really doesn't have an answer for him. Ricky Price with a great strip. Now it's 2-on-1. It's to Collins and back to Price. And this is what Duke has been able to do just because they've sustained a great effort on the defensive end.
Here's a look at our halftime numbers. The Wolfpack, known for the three-point weapon, just 2 of 10 in the first half, but they do have the overall edge in rebounding at 19-16.
Yeah, but they're not getting any free throws. They're not only not shooting from the perimeter at 2 for 10, they're not going to the foul line. Not a good sign for the Pack.
And 11 turnovers, giving Duke extra opportunities. We'll continue the second half straight ahead with Duke leading NC State by 1.
Jefferson Pilot Sports' exclusive coverage of ACC basketball is brought to you by Discus Athletic, by DirecTV, by Nationwide Insurance, by Ford, by Advance Auto Parts, and by Budweiser.
With Paul Cameron and Bucky Waters, Bob Rathman back at Duke. Our game plan for the second half, obviously, get Mr. Fuller involved.
Yeah, he doesn't have to shoot every time, but he only had 15 touches out of 35 possessions. He's got to get down on the lane again with all of those misses. I mean, shooting 37%, there's some offensive rebounds, but he's out there drifting, trying to get the ball. Got to use him. And Duke has got to pick on Hyatt. He's a terrific defender and really the glue for the perimeter players. He's starting the second half. When he went out is when Duke made their run.
Fuller starts the second half with 8 points, 1 foul. And Hyatt with those 3 personals back out there for the Wolfpack and matched up with Ricky Price.
Strong again starting on Domzowski. That was painful for NC State. Domzowski having a great first half.
Price nails the 3.
When I said pick on Hyatt, I didn't mean shoot over him. I meant take him to the basket. But if you're Mike Krzyzewski, you'll take the second option.
At the other end, Price is matched up against Harrison. Now Strong dribbling past Newton. The floater is good.
Tough shot.
7 for Danny Strong. 2-point Duke lead. These old rivals have been meeting on the basketball court since 1912. And they're giving us another dandy today. Capel now with 9. 31-27 Duke.
Critical for Duke to keep up that defensive intensity. That was the biggest reason that Fuller wasn't handling. Pressure on the ball was good. Inside defense was good. And they got frustrated.
Todd takes the 3. Tip by Harrison is good.
The big guy says, you don't give it to me in the paint, I'll go out there on the shiny floor. I can hit those too. 35% from 3-point is Todd Fuller.
First field goal today after a big effort against Virginia Wednesday when he scored 23. Left hand. 9 for Danny.
We talked about shooting percentages in the first half. 33 and 37. Both teams coming out smoking.
Capel. And pass Newton out of bounds.
Well, I can tell you what caused that. Newton trying to support the body weight of Todd Fuller and hold his position. And when the pass came, he just couldn't get away from that wall.
The 8th Duke turnover. Blue Devils had a season-low 6 against UVA Wednesday. And Domzowski with the push. Second on Taven.
Down inside, Domzowski caught from behind. And that's what Fuller does well. You know, he isn't a Baryshnikov, but he's very controlled in there, and he puts it on the floor judiciously, gets bodies against him, and really waits and makes his move at the right time, and that's why he should be shooting more free throws.
Collins. And Fuller is guilty of a push. And that's the second personal on Todd.
There's the move. Not a very good shot. A little fadeaway there by Collins. Newton had just a sudden lurch there across the lane. Like an epileptic fit. He had a little help. Todd, me lad, you got to be a little smoother than that.
Capel. Speaking of smooth, nothing but net on that one.
Neither team, Bob, has maintained or picked back up with the defensive intensity they had when they started the game.
Danny Strong is taking over the state offense here.
Look at that. Collins out, rebound Pinkett.
Capel feels it.
There is no defense against that.
From 10 down to 7 in front for Mike Krzyzewski.
You can only measure your defense after they get into your zip code.
And that's a backcourt violation against the Wolfpack. Things starting to get away from NC State here. Les looks at that scoreboard, knows he has a TV timeout in 35 seconds. Duke with the ball and up 7.
The substitution was Benjamin, who just had a very difficult first half.
Capel on fire all of a sudden. Back-to-back threes for the Fayetteville junior.
Oh, they're just giving him time and space. Right now, you got to chase him down, make him put it on the floor.
Time now for our smart play of the week, and it comes from last Saturday's Georgia Tech North Carolina game in Chapel Hill. The Yellow Jackets have the basketball, and Matt Harpring with the shot from three-point range and follows his own miss, finding a seam in the Carolina defense to score it. Harpring had 17 points and 10 rebounds in the upset at the Smith Center. Georgia Tech with a sweep of Duke and a sweep of North Carolina. Here's Fuller on the baseline. So NC State gets its first second-half point from its All-America senior center.
Coming right out of the 22nd timeout, the Pack got the message. Find him.
Capel, can he keep it going? No. 10 second-half points for Jeff. 41-33 Duke. Benjamin. And Collins with the push.
Foul is on Duke's number 20.
First on Chris will send Benjamin, a 68% foul shooter, to the line. Hodge had those clutch baskets late in the game against the Tar Heels at Reynolds. A game where he scored 14, had 5 assists and only 1 turnover, but since back in the throes of a slump. 4 for 12 against Virginia from the floor, 3 for 7 at Arizona State, and 1 for 5 Wednesday in Tallahassee. Just his 3rd point today. Benjamin hits them both. And a timeout on the floor at Cameron. 41-35 Duke. We'll continue with our coverage of ACC basketball after this message from Budweiser. Wake Forest, number 2, Georgia Tech in the Thriller Dome. Tony Rutland led the Deacs to a win in the first meeting, scoring 26. But freshman sensation Stephon Marbury wasn't close behind with 23 for the Yellow Jackets. So watch the rematch later today at 4 on your Raycom, Jefferson Pilots sports affiliate.
The Yellow Jackets were in great shape deep into that game. Wake had to come from behind late.
41-35 here at Cameron. Duke on top. Price against Hyatt, and now a foul on Pinkins guarding Domzowski. Second on Al.
Fouls on State's number 14, Al Pinkins.
Domzowski looked like just a tad of a wrap there. Well, we got a little screen from the zebra. Look at that footwork. You think it isn't a man's game in there?
And back live, Greg Newton lays one home to make it 43-35.
Domzowski coming right out to Fuller, 2 steps past the head of the key. They don't want anybody to have a good look.
Benjamin. Oh! And taking it away, Al Pinkins puts it in.
Benjamin, after that shot, neither followed it nor got back. He just stood and looked. He just doesn't have the fire that he has shown us last year and even earlier this season.
Price measures Hyatt and lays it in. 13 for Ricky. Quickness on display.
Hyatt with 3 fouls has to be a little cautious.
And a foul called, and it's going to be on Domzowski as Fuller hit the deck. 3rd on Taman.
The 2 big men in a leaning contest here. I think Domzowski just kind of moved out of the way, and Fuller lost his support.
So Taman sits. Stan Brunson comes in.
A different problem now. It's 6'7" quickness versus the big body of Domzowski.
Benjamin inside Pinkins. Newton smothered it. Pinkins still put it in.
Little comeback here by the Pack, remembering now this depth situation. If they can stick around and be competitive right into that 7-8 minute mark, and also down to 5, they're an excellent free throw shooting team at the end of a game. 80% from 5 minutes down, so that's a factor. But they got to play hard right now to be in a spot to use that, and it's going to be tough because Duke is explosive, especially in this building.
Ivan Wagner with the push, his first. 45-39 Duke, 14-13 to play. Newton right back to Price. catches up with the play. Now Newton backs in on Fuller. And went off the knee of Brunson. State ball. Wolfpack trailing by 6. Only 2 field goals for Greg Newton against Todd Fuller. Not going to get many. Fuller working inside. And Newton protecting the rebound. Les Robinson couldn't believe there wasn't a whistle that time. Here's Collins down the lane. Brunson in the traffic. Pretty big swing right there.
Oh, boy. Fuller just right looking down. Couldn't get the conversion. Really teething on the rim. And Collins getting up something soft that turned into a basket.
Benjamin hits a 3 to pull the Pack within 5. 13:21 left.
We're starting to see that intensity that we saw at the beginning of the game. They didn't have it coming out of the locker room.
Price. Brunson to Collins. Shovels to Newton.
Terrific interior passing that time by Duke. Collins has really developed as a passer.
Fuller gathers it, puts it in. Tough 2 for the Charlotte senior. He's got a dozen points. And Duke takes a 20-second timeout with 12:44 to play in the ball game.
The Pack's not gone away. They've gone back to Fuller, who's #1 in scoring, #2 in rebounding, and they've decided that they're going to win or lose by putting the ball in his hands. I think it's a great decision. A lot of good things will come off of that. The intensity of the Duke defense not as great as it was early. They just couldn't find Fuller in the first half because Duke put sudden pressure on the ball on the perimeter. That has lessened a bit. Perhaps fatigue, perhaps a little more movement offensively by State, but that's what's happening.
The announcers for this game selected and compensated by Raycom and Jefferson Pilot Sports, and the use of this broadcast without their express permission is prohibited. Wolfpack hanging around? You bet. Kick out that game at Chapel Hill. All close affairs until you get down to that last one on Wednesday that got away from them. But 9 out of 11 Bucky in the ACC, and the Wolfpack within 6 points when the final horn sounds.
They're clearly competitive in the toughest league in the country.
Fuller pulls that one out of the air, and NC State with an opportunity to get a little closer here. Hyatt. Benjamin hit a 3 his last time. Had Wojo on his hip. And no shot. The foul will come on Steve prior to the shot.
Benjamin, excuse me, Bob. Benjamin exploiting his size. They're taking Wojo right to the paint. This is, look at this combination in comparison. Wow.
Collins and Capel combined for 40 points in Raleigh. Capel's had a terrific second half.
Yeah, we mentioned they put in new offense over there. But Wojo can expect to be exploited in the lane if he stays on Benjamin.
Fuller. Another nice post move. 14 for Todd. NC State has now hit 9 out of 14 here in the second half. And within 3. When Les Robinson took that 20, Duke had taken a 10-point advantage. Capel leaves this one short, high at the rebound, and State can tie with a 3. Benjamin's going to take it and miss it.
I think with the success they've had going to Fuller, they better stay with that.
Capel with the fake, the fire, the miss. Brunson and a foul on Benjamin on the reach in.
State foul on number 5.
Fuller down at Tallahassee.
Number 20.
Only had 7 shots, 4 for 7. Went to the line 9 times, but a similar problem. He's got to have it.
49-46 Duke, and a timeout in Durham. Duke lead stands at 3 as Coach K goes over things in the huddle. Buck, you mentioned in that first half about Duke leads that had gotten away from them. And here is some of the big double-digit advantages they've had in games that they've lost. But interestingly, in the last 2 games, particularly here against Virginia on Wednesday. Duke was in a big hole. They came all the way back and beat Virginia by 10 after being down by 17.
Well, for the last 16 times prior to that, when they were behind at the half, they weren't able to do that. So this is a huge breakthrough for this Blue Devil team that really lacking in confidence.
Oh, the shooting percentages in the 60s, reflecting, I think, Coach Waters on the perhaps lack of defensive intensity that was here in the first half. Collins gets it. Boy, if that doesn't bring back memories of the first game. Wasn't a three-pointer this time, but bouncing on every inch of iron available.
Friendly rims. Chris Collins getting very smart. No longer is he just flying to the basket. Felt the contact, took it off, and that must be a new dance. I'm not familiar with that. Is that called the hippity hop, or what is that? The guy's got good batteries, I'll tell you that.
Domzalski back to Collins for three. Somebody can't. Whoa, Joe, let's see. Steve was last to touch. Boy, everybody for the Pack watching it.
All right, it's an old theme, but I think Les Robinson would agree with me. 3 of the last 4 touches for Todd Fuller were scores, and I think that's what the Pack has to go back to. He doesn't have to shoot it every time, but he'll create something for the rest of them. Zone, the Devils in a matchup zone.
Wagner. Tip, no. Still loose in the lane, and now a held ball. The arrow as Chuck Fitz untangles the players.
Be interesting to see how NC State attacks this zone. Many teams all of a sudden go into a perimeter mentality, and they think in terms of the outside shot and around. But the better teams penetrate either with the pass or with the dribble.
State ball. They have the arrow. 51-46 Duke. 10:52 left. Fuller. And blocked by Newton. What a block. Collins converts to the other end. Boy, Greg Newton just stood and admired his work that time, and I don't blame him. That was a terrific block.
Shades of Bill Russell. He blocked it, soft, laid it out there, and let his teammates convert it.
Harrison, strong for three over Collins, good. Second three for Danny.
Curtis Marshall, not a factor in this game. Has not scored.
Collins had it knocked free, and that's because Mr. Strong fouled him.
There it is. Great timing, the great time. Look at Newton hollering back there. Just an emotional play, well timed. Todd Fuller just, I think he underestimated the big fella behind him. Just a little soft baby hook. He gets away with that one most of the time. Newton's got good hops, and that time he used them.
Capel. And Fuller is there to claim it. You have to admire the stamina of these two teams, particularly Fuller and Newton and Domzalski. I mean, they've just been battling all afternoon.
They sure have. Newton was all over Fuller that time, coming over his back.
And Domzalski with his fourth.
Well, for Duke fans, shouldn't be in dismay because some of their best work coming down the stretch in this good part of the year for Duke has been 4 guards and 1 big man. But clearly it changes the way they play.
Collins and Domzalski out. Brunson returns for the Blue Devils. Wojo, Price, Newton, Capel, and Stan Brunson. Fuller at the line. And Long with that first attempt. He has shot almost half of NC State's free throws in ACC competition. His 15th point of this game, and stayed within 3.
Down court pressure by the Pack.
Wagner head up on Wojo, and he's got the quick feet to stay with him. NC State has committed 6 fouls. Duke only 5.
A lot of time. 9 minutes, 15 seconds. We could have one right to the wire, just like in Raleigh.
A travel on Price. Trying to make that quick move on Pinkins.
Boy, how about that? Old Pinkins with his bad wheels, staying with the mercurial Ricky Price. Terrific defensive play.
10 turnovers for the Blue Devils. Again, State with an opportunity to tie the game with a 3-point field goal. Danny Strong, a 2-pointer. Short tip up, no. And there's Pinkins having his jersey grabbed from behind by Brunson. Good play if you can get away with it.
Well, the jersey grabbing seems to be in vogue in the Atlantic Tennis Conference. This one's soft off the front of the rim. What? Yeah, whoa.
Come back here.
I wasn't ready. Come back here. That's one of those instinctive reactions you wish you could have back.
And the camera never blinks.
Coaches weren't yelling at this one, though.
Al Pinkins. They will say a non-shooting foul. So State will get the ball out of bounds. Now Stan Road telling Danny Strong and Ricky Price to cool it on the stack.
Yeah, but by the letter of the law, if you're not going for the ball, you know, it's a flagrant foul. Could have been 2.
Fuller had it banged away from him, and Collins picks it up. 53-50 Duke. Newton goes up, hits it. Newton with 9.
Perimeter defense by NC State, staying at home on those good shooters outside, leaving Newton one-on-one inside.
Fuller connects. 17 for Todd. 55-52. Blue Devils by 3. Collins needs some help getting it in, and Capel coming up, and he's fouled by Benjamin 75 feet away from the basket. And that will put Duke into the 1-and-1.
His third personal foul.
Hyatt, who picked up 3 fouls in the first half, coming back now for NC State. Now Pinkins gets a breather. Capel started this second half like a house of fire. Hit 4 in a row, including 2 threes. But he's gone 0 for 3 from the field since. Point number 18. His season high. 27 against Illinois and Western Carolina. His ACC high, 21 against Clemson. And this one is good. So 19 for Jeff. 57-52 Duke.
Capel's improved shooting in the second half, plus across the board for both teams has been a combination of defensive intensity not matching the first half, plus these teams are getting used to the fact this is a very physical basketball game.
Ivan Wagner, the San Antonio freshman, explodes to the rim. 57-54.
State high jump champion at 7'3", and he demonstrated that coming down the baseline about 90 miles an hour.
Price, Brunson. Shot clock under 10. Capel fakes, drives, kicks to Collins, big 3, no good. But Capel the offensive rebound. Duke another opportunity, and now Mike Krzyzewski wants a timeout. 7:18 remaining in the ball game at Durham, and the Blue Devils leading NC State by 3. Now this from Budweiser.
Whether it's a t-shirt game.
3-year-old rivalry on ACC basketball today between Duke and State on the Raycom Jefferson Pilot Sports Network. Bob Rathman, Paul Cameron, Bucky Waters, happy to have you with us this afternoon. In Duke's last 4 home games, you see Domzalski breaking out of the huddle. Duke has beaten Florida State by 20, Maryland by 10, Clemson by 30, Virginia by 10. Today, Buck, a different story, a 3-point game, and we've been given every indication this one's going to go right down to the end.
Les Robinson uses the analogy of boxing as they can't knock anybody out, nor can anybody knock them out. And it's pretty well held up with few exceptions.
Newton again, the fadeaway. It's been an effective move against Fuller. Double figures for Greg with 11. Benjamin all the way. Dumps to Hyatt. A three-pointer over Newton. Collins to the bucket. They were respecting the pass, and Collins drove it to the goal.
That's hard to believe. I mean, he wasn't even coming down there hard. It was just kind of a cruise, and nobody put a body on him. Collins all the way.
Andy Strong loads up a three. His third of the game. 61-57 Blue Devils.
Again, Collins has so much improved his ball handling back there. You would have said 2 years ago that he'd be bringing it up against the press. You would have had a lot of people saying, I don't know.
Price missing. Hyatt rebounding. Gets rid of it to Benjamin. Wolfpack down 4. Hyatt.
Fuller open in the lane. When States look best, they've made him a threat.
Capel. 22 for Jeff. And 3 big threes in the second half.
Benjamin not respecting, just kind of looking at him, gave him space, and he paid.
And Newton with the push. His first foul today.
You'd have a hard time convincing Les Robinson and Todd Fuller of that fact. Nudie has been very active.
Harrison and Pickens return. Hyatt takes a seat. Benjamin also going out. As Todd Fuller steps up to the foul line for the Wolfpack.
Not only is he a great free throw shooter, but it stops the clock.
Fuller was 12 of 12 at the line in game 1 against Duke and Raleigh. His numbers today add another point to make it 64-59 Duke.
Soft pressure now by the Wolfpack. Benjamin on Capel. That has not worked well for the Pack so far. I'm sorry, that's Harrison. They made the switch.
Duke out of its 1-4 set. Collins to Price with the shot clock winding down. Price down in a heap after scoring. Ricky with 15.
Boy, when he takes off, it's awesome.
Strong nails another three. His third of the second half. Danny with 18 for the game. 66-62.
Your basic streak shooter is streaking.
Keeping State in the ball game. Capel also with the hot hand. Strong rebound from Fuller. Domzowski went down. Pops back up. Meanwhile, Danny Strong block. Oh, no, they say it's a charge on Danny Strong. It's his fourth. Boy, there's a big whistle that goes against the Pack.
There was nobody backing up the defense that time. Let's look at it. Very close call. Looked like Capel moved into him to me, but we had the benefit of replay.
Timeout with 4:05 to play. Duke 66, NC State 62. We'll be back. Leading NC State 66-62. The inside play has had our attention most of the afternoon. You see Domzowski looking in on what Coach K has written on the board. Here's our center comparison. Fuller with another double-double. And the Duke inside people, Domzowski has guarded Fuller on the defensive end. Newton has taken it to Fuller on the offensive end.
One thing that skews that stat, though, is that those two guys have been in there a lot at the same time. So there are more minutes being fed into those numbers, but it makes the point. And right now at 4:05, remember that stat now. NC State in ACC competition is an 80% free throw shooting team under 5 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke goes a little zone and tries to make sure that State stays off the line and doesn't stop the clock and exploit that fact.
Shot clock for Duke at 10.
Pinkins on Wojo.
Collins. And Pinkins clears to Marshall.
Boy, Pinkins on Wojo. It looked like a real mismatch. Wojo didn't put it on the floor and take it to him.
Pinkins taking it to the glass. 8 points for the Georgians. 66-64.
Boy, the pack just keeps coming back. Again, Al Pinkins out there on Wojo looks to me like serious mismatch.
Domzalski barrels into Fuller, and a foul on Todd.
Wow. Big time move by Domzalski, going right at the senior. Fuller's got to say, what do you want me to do defensively here? Turns and faces. Comes right back into the defense. Take your pick. The honor student shaking his head, saying, I didn't cause the contact.
7 points for Taman.
Another good free throw shooting big man.
Had an off night Wednesday against Virginia, but has come back to go 3 for 3 at the line today. For Taman. 4-point Duke lead.
Curtis Marshall, who has yet to score, on the floor now for the Wolfpack. Jeremy Hyatt still on the bench.
Harrison into Fuller. Double. Powers up. Scores! What a war!
It's like an arm wrestling contest in there.
68-66. Capel floats it up and off. Tip, no. Rebound to Pinkins. The Wolfpack with a chance to tie with a 2, take the lead with a 3.
Domzalski with 4 guarding Fuller, and that's where it's going.
Todd to tie it.
I think Todd Fuller would like to have that one back. Why the fadeaway? He's been so effective at taking it to the hoop and drawing the fouls.
Here's Price on Strong. Goes right past it and puts it in.
Danny Strong just punched his ticket. That wasn't even Matador defense. That looked like the maitre d'. Where would you like to be, sir?
Newton blocking on the baseline. Picks up his second. 66 ticks left. Duke by 4, and the Pack moving to the line.
Les Robinson trying to utilize Strong's offense in the hot hand, but finding him a liability at the other end of the floor.
Pinkins, a 52% free throw shooter, has a 1-and-1. Al softly puts home the first for his 9th point of the game. Pinkins has been in double figures for the Pack in 3 of the last 4 games, and he can pull NC State to within 2. State. The ball hit the end line, and it belongs to the Wolfpack with 1:04 to play.
Newton just tried to squeeze that ball so hard, and it just squirted out of his hands. Duke wants a timeout.
With 1:04 to play, NC State down 3 and with the ball. Will return after these messages from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Raleigh, Chris Collins with Duke trailing by 2. The bump and the bounce. And Duke went ahead 71-70. NC State took the ball and went end-to-end. Curtis Marshall to win it for the Pack.
Oh.
And NC State goes down by 1. It's a 3-point game today. We may have another 1-point game. These two teams have been playing since 1912. There have been 16 one-point games all time. And the two combatants who saw both ends of the emotional spectrum in Raleigh back out there again today with 1:04 left.
Marshall is well rested and has yet to score. He spent a lot of time on the Pines.
And now, having problems getting it in, calls time. And NC State now with only 1 timeout left. Each team has used its 22nd timeout here in the second half. And now Duke and NC State with 1 timeout remaining. 1:04 left, and Duke leading 70-67.
Well, clearly, the Wolfpack doesn't need to force any threes. I still think they need to go down inside with Todd Fuller there as a presence. He either draws a crowd and creates the openings for everybody else, or if they get the ball to him, he has definitely proven he is strong enough to take it to the basket and go to the free throw line. Remember that stat. This is a very good free throw shooting team. I don't think they need to be quick triggering up a lot of outside shots. Not yet.
And in terms of clock management, we'll talk about it after we look at these close calls. The Wolfpack, it just seems like game after game, they go right down to the wire. 9 of their 11. And they, as Les Robinson told us earlier today, they've been able to win a few of these. Florida State at home, at Clemson, against Carolina at Reynolds Coliseum. But they've got the ball, and you look at the time remaining, Bucky, a fresh 35 on the clock. The Wolfpack realizing it will have 2 possessions. Duke will have 1 in a best case scenario.
Yeah, when you look at the three-point shooting as well, State only 6 for 20 for the game. Strong had that hot little streak, but it has not been a good perimeter day for the Pack. And as we know, they've really relied on that. What's paid off for them is going down in the paint, and I think that's where this one will go. Duke, by the way, was 4 for 15, or is 4 for 15 from the trifecta arc.
Strong for 3. Tie game.
Just like I said.
Shades of the Maryland finish. 70 up.
And State will have another possession, at least 1.
Here's Price. And the rebound to Pinkins. NC State, that's the game clock you see. The shot clock just under that at 28. Tied at 70.
Again, Marshall very rested and a good free throw shooter.
10 seconds to shoot. Pack brings Fuller high. Marshall drives to the bucket. 3 seconds to shoot. Fuller, a three-pointer, way short. Pinkins up, no good. Pinkins follows, no good, and hold everything. We've got a foul on Newton as time has expired. And I believe, Bucky, that the shot clock expired on Fuller's miss. Duke is claiming a violation. The ball by Fuller did not hit the rim.
With all of that time, for the last shot to be by Fuller beyond the arc, it's just hard to believe.
Look at the shot clock. Hit 0 right there. That should be Duke basketball. But with all the bedlam in the building, I'm sure you can't hear the horn. Now they can come to the table to take a look on a scoring and clock situation. And Larry Rose is going to do just that.
Here's another look. Fuller with a just beyond the line No chance of goaltending there. Newton got that one on the way up, but that's really a moot point here.
Larry Rose and Stan Rote bring the two coaches together as they untangle it here. The scoreboard clock in the arena shows that time has expired, but I don't believe the horn has sounded. At least we weren't able to hear it up here in the booth. The game ends on the sound of the horn. Let's see if we can hear it on our replay. I could not tell here up here in the booth.
I couldn't either. Oh my. These two teams love the drama. A heartbreaker in Raleigh for State on a ball that made 5 touches on the rim before it went down, and then a clear layup at the other end that wouldn't go down, and here we are again.
Now what Duke is contesting as the shot clock. Now watch right there as Pinkins gets it. See the clock, the shot clock's at 0. The shot has to hit the rim. And Duke is saying that the ball should belong to the Blue Devils with 1 point and a fraction remaining.
Two officials just with their face right into the screen down there, peering to see. Here's the kick out. Fuller desperate.
Look at the shot clock above the scoreboard. Right there it hits 0.
Yep.
See, that's Duke ball. That should be Duke basketball with 2 seconds plus remaining. Now, as play continued, there was a foul called on Newton that would send Al Pinkins to the line.
Les Robinson now peering down there with 2 officials. It clearly catches just hits the net. It's 0. Pinkins has the possession. That should be a violation and Duke's ball. But let's see what they see down there. Krzyzewski is satisfied with what he's seen. He is no longer looking. He's made his point.
So there should be 2 and change and Duke ball, and they've got to go 94 feet. But Les Robinson, it must be going through his mind, I've seen it all. I have seen it all. Because if there is no shot clock violation and Pinkins gets that rebound, State's got a chance to win the ball game at the foul line. But that's not going to happen, it appears.
All right, one more time. Fuller forcing the 3. It's a 0. And with the help of the monitor replay, we're assuming that the officials are seeing the same thing we are. Close to a foul out there. Boy, what a turnaround that would have been.
Boy, did the ball hit the rim? And, you know, from that angle, it looks like it just grazes it. No, it didn't from that angle. Boy, from that the last replay, I thought it did. Boy, you look at this 100 times and you start seeing things.
We need about 12 cameras here and to look at every angle, but clearly from our vantage. Watch, almost a foul. Tomzowski almost committing the foul after the shot. I mean, he did get a body. Okay, we've seen it. Let's play.
Well, make a decision and let's go. Now, what the officials, I think, are trying to determine now is how much time they should put back on the clock.
I'm going to guess about 1.2 or 3 seconds.
It looked like the horn. Well, this is the game clock here, super. Now, when that baby hits 0 on the shot clock, see, Pinkins has it 3.6. So somewhere in that vicinity is what Larry Rose is going to put on the clock. So now they're getting together. It will be Duke basketball. It is a shot clock violation against the Wolfpack. And now we're trying to determine just how much time is going to be put back on the clock.
We understand it's going to be 3.6. Duke ball to go the length of the court.
As Robinson and Krzyzewski stand side by side. 2 class acts in the heat of a game like this.
Yeah, it says something. There have been some combative situations between coaches in our league, but it can't get any more tense than this, especially when you reflect. Here's 2 teams fighting for their life, and they've just done this in Raleigh a month ago, and yet there's respect, and there's the ruling. Now Les Robinson has to figure out.
Duke timeout.
He's got time to figure out how he's going to keep that ball. They still have not put up the time. But we understand it's 3 and change, which is plenty of time. 3.6 is what we're guesstimating. And it's crucial right now because State has committed 9 fouls. Not only do they not have one to give, if they inadvertently make a foul, it's a 2-shot foul. And that's a heck of a lot different than taking a chance on a 1-and-1.
Danny Strong of NC State hit a 3-pointer to tie this game. Duke, on its next possession, missed its shot. And then NC State had the last shot, and it turned out to be a 3 from Fuller. So now Coach K drawing up what he hopes will be a game-winning effort here. They've got to go 94 feet in 3.6 seconds. Well, Duke taking that timeout.
They've got the timeout wrong, but they got 36 up there instead of 3.6, which will bring a little consternation, I do believe. There we go. Todd Fuller spotted that immediately, the engineer that he is. There we go. Now they're having a hard time with that decimal point. They moved it all around, but I guarantee you they'll get it right. These are 2 fine academic institutions. There we go.
So 3.6 left for the doubles.
You know, they don't have to do that often. They're down there reading the manual, trying to figure out how to do that. Looks like me at home with my VCR trying to program it.
How long does it think been flashing midnight?
Hush. Hey, I'm not a high-tech guy. All right, now Les Robinson is still trying to make a verbal point here. Let's look at the deployment now. Capel and Price are at midcourt on the wings. Newton in the middle. And the real point guard, Wojciechowski, is way back. I'm looking for some sort of a long thrust. I don't think Duke wants to put the ball on the floor and try to dribble it in 3.6.
Les is writing something and has handed it to the scorer and timer. You see, he has written a note. Skeeter Francis, longtime bureau chief in the ACC, is our timeout coordinator down on press row, and maybe he can overhear what's going on. There's a look at Skeeter. But I can't understand what Les could have possibly written here.
Unless he wrote down, I am officially protesting this game. Why the... It's almost like you're playing in a foreign country and you're trying to make yourself understood.
Now, Les takes a look at the deployment and burns his final timeout.
We talked about the foul situation. NC State with 9 cannot afford to commit a foul. It will be a 2-shot foul. Duke, on the other hand, has committed only 8. So that in the factor, although I don't anticipate any team fouling purposely at this point, at least if Duke makes a foul inadvertently, it's a 1-and-1, and your percentage is a heck of a lot better. I think they're going to go long. I really don't think that Duke is going to try to inbound short and advance it up there for a good shot. I'm looking for a quick thrust at midcourt. What I don't know is, does Duke have any timeouts left? Does Duke have any timeouts? They're both out.
20s and full.
I think it's going to get as close to midcourt as they can, and the 2 guys they're really looking for are on the wing. Price and Capel, both of who've had flashes of brilliance today, and I think that's where the thrust is going to go. Whichever one of those can get the ball is going to the basket. And Newton's going to try to get down to that box and make himself available. With 3.6, if they can get a deep pass, they've not only time for one shot, Bob, they've got time for an offensive stick back, and that's a very important part of this planning. So now honest, Coach, and we used to practice this with crowd noise taped in and practice guys from the end line. And what we like to do is do a little screen and throw it to the paint at the other end and tell the officials to look for the push, making sure that if the ball is high and bodies go up, if there's any pushing and shoving, you got a chance to draw the foul. And that way you get the ball down in scoring territory a little bit like a Hail Mary.
Here's the setup. Duke has changed it after the timeout.
Yeah, but the wings are still there.
And before we leave, kudos to Rose, Pitts, and Rote for getting this situation squared away. Good officiating, fellas.
Amen. Good pressure on the ball.
And it's kicked by Harrison. Gets it into Newton, turns, gives to Capel. Capel spinning. Capel beats the horn, misses it, and we've got overtime. Shades of Carolina. Could Capel do it again? This time it went a little long, and we've got overtime in Durham. 70-70. The 5-minute overtime period coming up next. 1996 ACC season. State and Duke go to overtime at Cameron, and neither team has had much luck in overtime this season. Duke is 0-1, losing at Georgia Tech 73-71. NC State lost at Maryland by 3, and in double overtime at home to Virginia by 2.
Put another log on the fire, darling. We're in overtime. It is cold outside, but this place really heating up.
Newton and Fuller and Rose to put it in the air. And Duke wins the tip.
Each team now getting a timeout. The foul situation remains.
Price. Long board tipped out to Capel. Jeff, an open look.
Newton with really a heads-up play, pushing that ball back out to perimeter to give the Devils another chance.
72-70 Duke. Benjamin knifing through. Gets it back. Feeds to Fuller. The fake. The fire. No. Pinkins had it stripped. Fierce inside.
Oh, there's got to be a lot of skin under fingernails out there. It has been a clawing afternoon. Two teams not desperate, but close to it.
Collins kicks it out to Price. But another opportunity as Capel keeps it alive and puts it in.
Second chance points. The Blue Devils getting 2 cracks each time down. The Wolfpack's got to figure out a way to hold them to 1. Good rebounding. That's how.
Blocking foul on the baseline, and it goes against Newton. And for Greg, it's his 3rd personal. Domzowski operating with 4, and free throws for the Wolfpack. A 1-and-1 coming for Al Pinkins.
Looking back over regulation, State had 67 possessions, scored on 24. That's a 36% ratio. Fuller had 30 touches. And on 16 of those, the Pack scored. That's 53%. They got to find them in the overtime. Remember, great free throw shooter. Plus, the front court, not Newton, but Domzowski, serious foul trouble down there.
Al Pinkins at the line, now in double figures with 10. The second shot coming. Pinkins with a tattoo of a pit bull on that left arm. And it's been that kind of a game. 11 for Pinkins. 74-72. 2 huge free throws for Pink.
Benjamin on Collins. Jeremy Hyatt has disappeared from this game.
3:20 left in the first overtime. Capel travels. Now State gets the ball back.
Interesting look at the two coaches. Krzyzewski stoic. Robinson still very active, sweating profusely in that red sweater.
The 11th Duke turnover gives State a chance to tie with a 2. Fuller trying to get big inside. Pickens calls a timeout. The only timeout State has in overtime, and they use it right here to save the possession. 2:55 left in the first overtime. 74-72 Duke. 2-point lead over the Wolfpack. We have 2:55 left in the first overtime here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Another to add to the list of NC State's close games. These are the ACC losses, but keep in mind they beat Florida State by 6 at home. They won at Clemson by 3, and they beat the Tar Heels by 3 at Reynolds. This is what's happened to them in their defeats. Well, you turn those around, they could be 8-3, like 3-8.
Let me just say this before the conclusion of this game. As a former State player and an alum, I'll be very disappointed if NC State does not live out the full contract to Les Robinson. He's obviously made improvement in academics, and this team is competitive in the toughest league in the country, and he should have the full time of his contract.
Last touched by Fuller. Wagner will check in. Hyatt is back for the Pack.
Number 4, Ivan Wagner in the lineup for North Carolina.
2:40 left in the first overtime. There's Ivan Wagner. And Pickens will go out. Duke leading by 2.
Collins, Capel, and Price have logged the entire afternoon. If they had a break, it was minuscule. If the Pack can just generate some pressure out there and try to capitalize on the fact that they've got to be awfully tired. The game against Virginia, oh my.
Capel just lucky to get that one back. Oh, and a steal by Wagner, and a foul on Collins. Capel just leaving a long bounce for Collins, and Wagner with the quickness was able to get to it. Or is it? Now they say the foul is on Wagner.
What? Well, we couldn't tell from that angle. Newton has been very effective. Wow. I don't believe that.
Oh, my. 2 shots for Collins. Wagner got to the ball first.
That's the way it appeared from here. Of course, we're up here. I got pigeons, and these pigeons are getting restless. It's been noisy and hot in here, and they want all of us to go home.
(75-72) Duke with 2:13.
Boy, that was major. Absolutely major.
Makes it a 2-possession game. The Duke crowd, they've just been going bonkers this almost the entire second half. Danny Strong tied it in regulation with a 3. Benjamin, loose ball, tipped last by Duke. State ball, 17 seconds to shoot.
Give Duke defense credit. NC State just doesn't have a plan down there offensively. They're struggling just to get a shot. Witness the last shot of the game. Fuller has to go a step past the 3-point line to try and beat the shot clock.
Fuller up short, and a foul. Is it on Domzalski? They're going to say it's on Capel. That keeps Domzalski in the game. Jeff was volunteering.
Breaks all going the Blue Devils' way at this juncture. Newton keeping that ball alive for second chance points with those deep tips. Questionable call, and that could have very easily been Domzalski's 5th. So Cameron Magic working right now for the Blue Devils.
In 2 games against the Devils, Fuller is 18 of 18 at the line. 2 big ones here to keep State alive. 1:47 left in OT.
With his free throw making ability and the factor of stopping the clock, Les Robinson has to have Fuller as the first option at every possession. Has to. They don't need quick threes.
A 2-point Duke lead. Capel Capel. And a foul. A hand check on Benjamin. Capel will shoot 2.
Both teams now have reached 10 fouls, so it's 2 free throws around. Capel, explosive.
And both hands on Capel for the hand check. 26 today for Jeff. 2 away from a career high, and he can match it and give Duke a 4-point lead. Not to make excuses, but you got to figure fatigue in some of these shots, both from the field and the line.
Indeed. If State's bench, the depth, if it's going to play a role, it's got to be now. 1:30 to go.
Capel a near steal. Hyatt gets it, goes to the ball. Fuller ends up with it and stuffs it to make it a 1-point game.
Oh, momentum. We're in a red jersey now. That was a loose ball that went right to Fuller, and he knew what to do with it.
The Wolfpack will get it back. 1:04 to play in the overtime. 20 on the shot clock. Collins, big, long 3. No, and Fuller the board. The State team that lost by a point at home to Duke now trying to take the lead, down 1.
Let's see what they do with it.
It's going to be Benjamin. Loose in the lane. Capel's got it. Now Duke can milk the shot clock.
The Duke defense saves them again. Just about 4 seconds difference between the clocks. Any foul now is a 2-shot foul.
And Strong trying to poke it away.
Well, they got to ride it out now. If they're going to foul, they should have fouled a while ago.
Yes. And Danny Strong fouls out of the game.
And with him goes the threat of the 3-point shot that he proved clearly in that surge by the Pack.
13 seconds left. And it's going to be Clint Harrison to come in to take Danny's place. 21 for Strong. And he hit 5 3-pointers today. 4 in the second half, including the one that tied the game at 70 toward the end of regulation. 2 shots for Collins, and they're huge. It would guarantee a tie.
Curtis Marshall, one of the key players in the drama in Raleigh, still on the bench.
Duke by 3. And the Blue Devils take a timeout. NC State must negotiate 94 feet and hit a 3 to send it to a second overtime. The Blue Devils leading NC State. In 3-point shooting today, NC State has hit 7 out of 23, and Danny Strong with 5 of the 7.
Well, Curtis Marshall is a 43% 3-point shooter, but at least the last team that was on the floor for State did not include him. Benjamin only 31, Hyatt a respectable 36. Al Pinkins an amazing 44 at 19 for 43.
State sends out Harrison, Hyatt, Fuller, Marshall, and Pinkins. Hyatt to inbound. Mike Krzyzewski takes a look, deploys his club defensively. Pinkins hovering in midcourt. Marshall gets it into Hyatt, and Jeremy brings it ahead. State down by 3. Marshall to tie it. 2 seconds. The ball game is over. Marshall got off a 3, but it was a long 3, and the the Pack couldn't claim it and kick it out for another opportunity. And another heartbreaking defeat for the Wolfpack. Mike Krzyzewski's ball club wins 2 against State by the skin of its teeth. Wow.
Underscore the Duke defense. Whenever they needed to have the big play on the defensive end, they got it. And they got it a long time with just a few players. A very courageous performance.
79-76 Duke. Our final in overtime. And here's another look at that final shot.
Curtis Marshall going over Wojo and through Larry Rose. Really off left. They needed to be fouled on this one, but within that scrum, it was always possible. Keep it on the floor. Can't hurt you there.
Ricky Price scored 17 today. Capel, the high man, with 27. Duke improves with the victory to 15-10, and they pull up to 6-7 in ACC play, and they'll look back, if they do indeed get an NCAA bid, to 2 games against the Wolfpack that might possibly put them over the hump. This is the final play of regulation. Todd Fuller with a 3 to win it. But as Pinkins rebounded the ball, the shot clock hit 0. That was a shot clock violation because Fuller's shot did not draw iron. After many minutes of consultation, the officials made the right call, gave Duke the ball with 3.6. Capel's shot at the end of regulation was no good, and we went to overtime, tied at 70. And in the extra period, NC State had a big turnover on its possession against that Duke defense, and the Devils are able to pull it out by 3.